And here we are. Welcome back, Matthew. This is the Make Him Pay NBA Fantasy Podcast. Welcome all.
Episode Cinco.
Welcome all. Glad you can join us. It's episode number 5. Brought to you by Squeaks Fantasy Basketball. We are your host, Matthew Cowie.
Make him. Pay.
Do.
And we got Misty. Do. We got Ryan Primetime Purcell. What's going on, man?
Yeah, lots. Before we get get into that, you can find us on Squeaks at Squeaks on YouTube and at Squeaks_fantasy on Instagram. So thanks for joining, everyone. We're glad we're back on the air, and we're glad that you're back listening, so thank you. And to jump back into your question, what's been going on, mate? We have both been absolutely flat stick, balls to the wall, whatever you want to call it. There has not been a moment in our lives to sit down and talk fantasy basketball for a couple of weeks, so what more can I say?
Never a shortage of excitement. There's been a hell of a lot going on, I think, the last couple of weeks. And look, we will cop some stick from the boys in the chat. Rightly so, absolutely.
We will cop some stick, or we have copped some stick?
We'll cop some more stick. Actually, you're exactly right. There has been an undercurrent of said stick. Look, really gratifying and really fun that the boys are actually just giving us so much shit going, right, where's the next episode? Where is it? It's really weird that it hasn't come out yet. What the hell's going on? So it's a real positive in a way. But, I mean, you and I have spoken off air and tried to keep in touch as best we can. There's been a whole bunch of stuff going on, like just, personal, professional, all kind of stuff. It's just that time of year. We're just absolutely going, just going to be limping across the finish line, I think, heading into 2026. But, yeah, really, really glad, really excited to be back, relieved that we can kind of just get another one under the belt, and just, really get stuck into it. But there's been a hell of a lot going on for sure, hasn't there?
And, look, before we get on to all the fun stuff, there's been a couple of more personal items that have been touching our lives over the last couple of weeks, and one sort of come to a bit of a head in the recent couple of days. We've lost, unfortunately, a very special lady to this world who played a big part in a number of people's lives that are in our league, funnily enough. So we may have mentioned before that quite a lot of us have done a lot of athletics over the years, track and field, and so have spent a lot of time with some very, very special and clever people. And one of the coaches of a couple of athletes in our league has unfortunately passed away over the last couple of days. So pay our respects to Lee Derby, and very, very sad moment. Touched a lot of our lives, both from a sporting perspective and also from a personal perspective. Shaped a lot of people's development, not only as sports people, but as individuals as well. So, look, my heart goes out, and I was very, very sad to hear that news, and it's just devastating, to be honest.
Oh, mate, it was tough. I mean, she fought real hard for quite a few years with various, illnesses and bits and pieces and stuff like that she was navigating through. But half the time, I think, is such a testament to her character. You wouldn't know. Like, she was just always as upbeat and positive, inquisitive as ever. I came to know Lee really well, not as an athlete that she had coached, but I think there was certainly a bit of a gravitas there and a connection through the field events, because, she coached a lot of jumpers and stuff like that. But she was just such a wonderful soul. Look, mate. It's. I don't know if I was ready for that kind of personal attack this early, but
I wanted to
that's
keep
all right.
this
No,
just
that's
a
fine.
little
We'll
bit
go.
lighthearted. It's actually really sad for us, but no, sorry, keep going.
It is funny. It's funny. Lee actually probably said the same thing when I was about 17 or 18. She's like, "Good thing you're not trying to jump forwards. You're trying to sort of throw something far away." No. But look, she was always so enthusiastic about whatever it is that you were doing in the world of athletics. Always tried my best to keep in contact, especially just my own personal experience. Everyone in our league is going to have, I think, literally everybody. He's going to have an incredibly fond recollection. All of us that did athletics in the league, we all know Lee. She was just such a stalwart in the WA athletics community. Everyone thought so highly of her. She helped an enormous amount of athletes throughout their careers. But I think what I remember so fondly is she just was always so excited to hear about what you were doing. And I think even trying to keep in touch was a little bit more tricky when I moved over east. So, I'd go back when I was still competing anyway, and I'd come home and compete over Christmas or, do the Perth Track Classic or whatever and run into Lee and always have a catch-up. She would go out of her way to come and say hello. And then even in recent years, with all of her personal issues that she's had going on, just with all the stuff she's had on her plate, would still chime in and, I'd been chatting to your mum, I'd caught wind that you're getting back into coaching again, and I think it's just so wonderful. You've got got the right, makeup to do that kind of thing. It's always really important to do it. It was just something she was so hugely invested in and incredibly passionate about. She was a wonderful, wonderful human being, and she's going to be very sorely missed.
That's right, and I know this is a fantasy basketball podcast, but there's some deep connection there from probably 90% of the players in our main league, and based on the background of all of us guys and the importance that she played, I think it's we definitely need to pay our respects, and for someone who was so positive and just brought joy to lots of people's lives, I think it's we just wanted to show our respects and I guess shed a bit of a tear for that. So rest in peace.
The many millions and billions of listeners needed to know. And she's just such an incredible figure.
And the reason I tell a joke is because there was nothing that she loved more than having a laugh as well. So you couldn't.
Mate, it was always so fun.
Serious conversation with her. She's always had a smile on her face.
No. God, no. And I mean, look, let's be honest. We were often some of the first people to be getting to Perry Lakes or whatever on a Sunday morning. No one wanted to be there because it's Sunday morning. You've either been out the night before or it's just that early and you're not that interested. And it's like, oh man, this one's going to be tough. Like this is, I'm doing a hurdle sesh or something like that. And it's like, oh, okay, here we go. And she was always just a ray of sunshine, a beacon of enthusiasm, and you just couldn't help but get swept up in it. She just made everyone and everything better.
That's true. All right.
Oh, yeah.
Park that there and, rest in peace, Lee, and let's get on to some things that also make us smile. Fantasy basketball.
Yes. Darcy's players getting injured. Sorry. Sorry. Look, I've probably I'm getting a bit carried away. We will get to that.
There goes the one sheet. I think that's for what? Section 2, 3, 4, and 5. Yep, well, I think we're covering most of that straight off.
We've got a lot to catch up on. I mean, look, it's I love Darcy with all my heart, and it has been. He messaged me a little while ago when he was thrashing my team with our matchup. And there was just that little tinge of dread, you could tell, and he's like, I'm enjoying this while I can, because it's happened to everyone. Because it's happened to everyone else already. Oh, yeah.
There's things
dearie me.
With Squeaks, all right? There's and NBA fantasy in general, but there's in life, death, taxes, and when your team is going to cop the most horrendous run of outs humanly possible, to the point where you may field 1 of 7 on any given day. Yeah, so.
Fantasy basketball is the great leveler.
It is.
It keeps everyone honest. So some of those we'll touch on, but I think I mean, talking some of the bigger news items that's been going on in the NBA, probably not very impactful at all these days from a fantasy context, but I think CP3 getting dropped by the Clippers has been a really, really interesting one. And if you really wanted to, you could get the real wide paintbrush out and talk about what kind of fantasy implications that'll have for their team as to what the hell they're doing and why they wouldn't want that kind of impact in the locker room.
This is true, but there's obviously some big ticket items going on. Tyronn Lue, having a bit of there's a few rumours that there could be some connections there with Billups and the gambling items.
Yeah.
There's obviously the talk about the underhanded payments through the shell corporations for Cowie. There's a whole bunch of different activities going on. And look, if we somehow connect the dots and roll this back to fantasy, what the hell are the Clippers doing? I guess there's a reason. There is a reason why Harden is going absolutely bananas and just collecting stats on a whim, because I don't think anyone's feeling the vibe there. He seems to be the only one locked in basketball, and that might not be from a winning perspective. That might just be from a statistics point of view. But
it is a real mess. I think the Clippers and the Pelicans I don't know why that was so difficult to pronounce. They're trying to outdo themselves. I think at the moment it's like, oh no, we can run our team worse than you can. Oh, you think that's bad? Watch this. Some of the decision making, and I think, I think they're being very indirectly intent on the paths that they're on. These are the choices that they're making, and short term is looking very bleak, particularly for the Clippers. I mean, I can't remember who made the tweet, but there was the Billups connections had not really touched on that, but there was a tweet, may have probably Shams or someone like that, saying that, a little bit similar to probably some previous Jimmy Butler stints in some of his earlier teams, but just not sharing the same mindset as people in the coaching staff. Tyronn Lue himself, wanting to hold people accountable and have this kind of culture that he's probably been so accustomed to with the success he's had. He's going to be a Hall of Famer. Absolutely he will. And it really getting the impression that his intent and the results that he would be striving for as a player are just not matched with what they are going to be looking for this season for the Clippers, and it's just sad.
It does beg the question. I know you've got a shelf life as an athlete, right? We all know that. Most of us have been there, but CP3's he's getting on. He's done the rounds. He's had multiple teams. Is there a reason why you put yourself in that position? This is just me throwing out an opinion here. Why would you continue to go on? Is this surely there is something else in life, even basketball related, that you could transition to that doesn't put you in that position to impact your legacy, write your own story, so to speak. And
could already have started his own Jason Kidd transition into coaching. I mean, such a similar, impactful point guard kind of role. I could absolutely see Chris Paul on the sideline coaching someone. But what must the Clippers organisation have said to him with their pitch to make him do another year? He could have tied such a neat little bow last year being a point guard for Wembanyama, and having that kind of would have been, surely there would have been some mentoring roles and impacts that he would have had on the big man from France. But it's so bizarre what the appeal must have been to go to the Clippers, and whether there's just such a mad dichotomy in expectations. They said they were going to do all these things and they just haven't. It's like, oh, actually, no, we can't really be bothered. We're just junk this year. It's not a good look, and now he's kind of
delusion to think that they're they're having a possibility of making a run still with all these players. They might get a few back from injury. They do have what is considered a decent list. Maybe they promise something, and then the direction has changed. The front office has turned around and trying to pivot on a whim. And they've just said, cool, business decision, bang, gone. And
that's a great point. Is it delusions of grandeur? Maybe That's
So
oh,
there's
geez,
so many.
you really don't know, and we won't ever find out either.
No,
You know.
I mean, I don't often get calls back from when I ring their front office. So, um,
You've still got their number, have you? Yeah, they blocked mine.
1-800 bugger off. No,
Wow. Oh,
definitely not. No,
oh
definitely
my
don't get
God.
the calls back.
Oh no, definitely not.
No, there's so many interesting theories there. It is a shame because you do. There are so many ways that he could get a bit of a farewell tour, even with limited playing time, and even just an acknowledgement of tenure and what he's done for the organisation through that Lob City era.
Yep.
You know, bringing him into relevance really with a couple of guys that could jump.
Yeah.
So it's I think that deserves something. Whether that aligned with his views on playing time and all the rest of it, who knows?
Oh, look, it's going to be one of the great unknowns, I think, and just such a really odd. If this is where he calls it, if someone else decides to pick him up for the rest of the season, you have no idea. If this is where it ends, it's so anticlimactic for a player the likes of him. But look, I mean, we're just going to have to kind of sit tight and see how it all unravels, because it still is quite fresh. It's only a couple of days old when we're recording this, but moving on, some of the other bits and pieces since you and I have spoken, I would probably be saying Con Kneppel's three-point shooting, and probably free throw shooting as well, but shooting the lights out at genuine record-breaking pace, and I mean, this is hitting close to home for you, Prime, but my God.
Here because I'll be the bane of the chat again after mentioning my team.
This podcast will be 4 hours long.
Exactly, but no, unbelievable shooting percentage. Look, he's there was a game the other day where it was last week where LaMelo was benched for almost the entirety of the fourth quarter, or at least for the last 5 or 10 minutes there, and Con was put back onto the court to finish off, and they dragged themselves back in the game, won in overtime. Massive efficiency from outside the arc, a corner three to seal the OT, and then Charlotte won in OT. I mean, that's a rookie there, unbelievable. But no, he's been doing very well. The lone bright spark on my team at the moment, and as people will probably see from the week 4, week 5 shorts that I've put out on our weekly results, I'm on a bit of a losing streak. So Concanipple is actually the only thing keeping me going and deciding not to sell house by week 6. So, yeah.
Please join us in Struggletown. The weather is not fine. It is very bad. No, Con's been absolutely nuts. I think looking at some of the numbers here, so a rookie class leading 18.3 points per game, shooting at 40%. I mean, it's so good. Absolutely awesome. Really, really cool. In terms of any other news items, I think Jamal Murray went absolutely nuts the other day for 52 points for the Nuggets, kind of keeping them just really in this kind of ethereal, we've recently won a chip, are we still the goods, we don't know. Jokic is just doing his thing.
Talk about Jokic later.
We will, and with Brown out as well, Christian Brown, I mean, the Nuggets are still kind of hanging on just with the roster they've got. I'd probably say from there, I'd want to, circling back, if you want to, just in terms of my little dig at Darcy, we're going to be talking about injuries again, I think, Prime, because there are some really big ones, some very impactful ones, and then an interesting talking point I'd like to kind of get your thoughts on.
All right. Do you want me to kick off a few of the sort of more low key injuries? So we'll go with Booker currently out for a week or so with the groin. We've got Bilal Koulibaly out for multiple weeks with an oblique. He has been playing some solid ball for Adam up until this point. An oddball one here. PJ Washington out with an ankle. Did you see how he did that? No.
No, I didn't.
Warm-ups.
Oh.
A little rebound in his warm-up gear, come down on one of the second balls, rolled his ankle.
Oh, no way.
It was a bit of...
Oh, the thing you always fear could happen.
Yeah. I guess that's
Oh,
why everyone
man,
shoots
that's
threes,
shocking.
Right? Just stay away from the ring.
Just less of an ankle risk,
exactly. And another one, more recent terms, we don't know whether this is going to be 1 or 2 games, but Doncic is out with apparently childbirth, and that's not him giving birth, that is his partner/wife. So, yeah, just to confirm that for the viewers at home.
Look, it's 2025. Things have changed, man. Things have changed. Anything's possible.
Rolling on to the more important
I think
one that you are just chomping at the bit to get at.
Very quickly before I jump in, though, just because rookies has always been such a big thing for us, keeping tabs on those, Ryan Kalkbrenner has done his ankle in their recent game for the Hornets. So that's going to really sting for them. So always pretty tenuous with your return path from doing an injury like that. So we're going to have to kind of keep tabs. But the big one. Giannis with a calf strain. Going in for an MRI. Bucks staff have said, I think Doc Rivers has said, I think that the Bucks staff are thinking they've ruled out the prospect of it being an Achilles injury.
Hopeful.
Look, hopeful for sure, but going in for an MRI for his right calf, we're going to see what happens there.
Any conspiracy theorists out there?
I think we might have one of them that's wearing a Miami Heat jersey at the moment.
So let me just step up there. There we go, Miami Heat. Thank you.
Look, I'll just show off my you didn't choose to join me for this podcast. I'll just show off my classic green bamboo Dixon party shirt.
One of us
very conscious of the environment with flowers
and our
and
news
leaves.
And injury segment, not proudly brought to you by Dixon yet, still in the works. But I had to wear the Miami jersey tonight. Dixon, apologies. It's more of a welcoming party. So for all the conspiracy theorists out there, it was a bit of an innocuous one. Giannis's calf strain. Didn't think too much of it. Was hoping it was not Achilles. Sounds like it isn't. On that note, if it's that innocuous, is this just a fake injury to shut down before the old exit stage left? And that's my first comment. And second comment is Florida's always open, and I'm pretty sure South Beach will love to have your talents come to us.
Look, I mean, someone else took their talents to South Beach and he's not there anymore. I think where you really want to go is you give Kat a call and go, mate, you've been really good, but you still get the dumbest fouls in the history of NBA basketball. How about you and I head out to Milwaukee, you come to the Big Apple, and we try and remember what these weird ring chip-looking things look like for this city.
That's another good option. Look, as much as I'm a Heat fan, I think the Knicks are high on the priority list. I think if this does eventuate, not saying it does, we're just putting conspiracy theories out there. But there has been talk about New York being high on the priority list.
There's been another wave of some articles and some rumours going around that the Knicks did in fact actually tender an offer and have some proper dialogue with them in the off-season. And look, I'm pretty conflicted on that. I think the roster at the moment, away games are still an absolute mess. I mean, we lost to the Celtics the other day, and we really shouldn't have, which is still, for someone who's followed the Knicks for at least a decent enough period of time, this is such a small window where we've actually been decent enough to say that losing to the Celtics is a poor showing. It's still such a bizarre concept. Obviously, there are circumstances to that, but the Knicks would be. I mean, look, if I'm conflicted because the roster they have should be ticking the boxes of why you'd be bringing someone like that in. It's like, well, we've got people here that are kind of doing that already, but it's Giannis. I mean, trade time's coming. there's a bit of a groundswell. It would be,
And
I mean,
know.
what you want to talk? You want to talk about James Harden wearing the fat suit? Like, I mean, that's a real thing that happened. You know, this has happened before. Is it petty? Yes. Is it possible? Also, yes.
NBA is an industry in its own right. It's basketball's an industry, but NBA it literally is its own industry, and we know it's business. We know it's as much about basketball as it is about business, and you know, someone with as much pull coming to the Big Apple, big market team, that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's front offices open shop for that. They're just ready.
Oh,
ready
dude,
to get
that's
the money through the door. Whether or not it actually ends up in positive basketball, we'll see. But it's
Look, like you said, the NBA it's just a 365, 24/7 media circus. And you also mentioned that pull, leverage is such a real thing. Players of his stature, you're going to leverage yourself to get the outcomes that you want and go to the destinations that you want to go. So it'll be really interesting if he does change his tone on how much he's loved being in Milwaukee and, you know, being someone that brought a championship there and all that kind of stuff. Maybe he thinks he's done enough. We'll see.
That's right. And
it's going to be very, very interesting. But yeah.
And Jake, for those playing at home, no, I did not have a Khalil Ware number 7 Miami Heat jersey. This is one of the OGs from more recently retired players. Goran Dragic, the Dragon, one of my favourite point guards of all time. Slovenian beast, MVP Eurobasket.
Slovenian beast. Oh, mate, he's rattling them off. Look, I'm chuffed with 2 of my Heat boys at the moment. It's funny. Eric said it in the chat today because Tyler Hero's back, finally. Excellent. Back from injury and hit the ground running. Paul George back. Not really hitting the ground running. There's some load management things there, but he hasn't been terrible. Hero's been great. Norman Powell. I mean, you know, I was really interested to see how he would go getting traded to Miami in the off-season. Both of them, at least for me, going great. Eric made bang, bang, bang. I mean, but Eric did make a really good point. And I can't say I've watched a huge amount of Heat play in the last week or so, but the likes of Hero, is he negatively impacting their play style and their flow and their efficiency on the offensive end? Possibly, but I just said, you know, hey, this is a different world.
Answer for that.
If the Heat lose, but I win,
you do win from a Squeaks
I'm happy.
Perspective. Yes, you do win from a Squeaks Fantasy
That's right.
perspective. So,
that's most important.
I will roll this back to Squeaks Fantasy in a sec, but look, just to continue the conspiracy theories, Milwaukee boy is Tyler Hero. Does there retain a connection where he's happy to go home? Just saying.
And he's like,
just saying.
wow. See, maybe
they did play quite.
Maybe
well.
he's
they
Milwaukee.
Did play quite fast. They did play quite well with Norman Powell. With that high usage role, they do have a quicker play style. They've balanced that out, and they've been playing unbelievable to start the season. They're 14-8. They're in the quarters for the cup. They're rolling. Yes, we do have some theorists out there that could be part of any potential trade.
Question, and I'm going to try my best on this podcast to frame things as questions when I don't know what I'm talking about, so that I'm not exactly getting it wrong, but it's just me being inquisitive, so I don't look like a total dumbass. Was Dante DiVincenzo on the Bucks roster when they won their chip?
I guess we got Google in front of us, but
we may have, but potentially, if Hero's from Milwaukee, maybe the Bucks go, well, we had DiVincenzo, we could get DiVincenzo 3.0 here. Because he certainly complemented. I mean, you got Miles Turner there now. They've got a big man already. Right. That could really work with a bit of space in the floor.
As long as it's not a 3-way trade, that ends up with Giannis going to New York, Tyler Hero and DiVincenzo going to Milwaukee, and Bobby Portis coming to Miami. As long as it doesn't end up like that, whatever happens.
Look, wouldn't be mad if DiVincenzo came back to the Knicks and we had the Nova boys going all over again, because that really was such a fun time. Hey, look, I'm not entirely mad at some of those outcomes, so we'll have to see what happens. Now,
did I just say
circling.
DiVincenzo going to going across there. Sorry, he's
You
playing.
you didn't.
He's playing for a totally different team. That needs to be a 4-way trade. My bad.
Look, we'll see. I just thought, hey, look, we could bring it in.
I'm
but
used to 2-team trades or 6-team trades. Like I'm not anything in between's a bit.
Look, if we want to get back on task with the fantasy implications here, look, prayers up for Darcy in the league, because the wheels have, in his words, absolutely
and
come off.
We will touch on that
for a guy when we spoke last on our last pod, the team was flying high, and we're going to find out there's the dude's in strife. He's heading straight towards a cliff at the minute.
Heading straight towards.
Mate, the pilots have bailed, and it's gone. Hang on a minute.
It's a 10-person trade.
He's looking for 14-person trades at the moment.
No, that's it does have some significant ramifications for him, and yeah, it is very interesting that you'll notice in the shorts that I've posted out on at Squeaks Galari on YouTube, just to keep everyone across the week 4, week 5 matchups. High flying. Yeah, I called him the points for leader. He is the highest scoring team in the league by a substantial amount, and he's rolling with keepers. He's set this up from last season and added Giannis to 3 keepers that are constantly in the top 3 of every matchup. Look, it has affected him, but it's not just the one injury that's affecting him and a number of other teams. So I'm just going to bounce from the Giannis impacts to just general back-to-back rests and the constant quick and late outs from each NBA team that are coming through at the moment. It's been difficult to field a team. I personally myself has in the previous matchup have had 7 outs on one day, and I believe CJ has had 7 or 8 outs with a game time decision as well, bringing that to 9. So out of a 13-man roster, we're talking significant percentages. It is very difficult to have an honest matchup, player for player matchup, even keel on games played, or at least within sort of 1 to 2% or 5% games played. It's blowing scores out, because one week you'll get a healthy team and your scores will be through the roof, and then the next week 3/4 of your team will be on the pine and not even injured, just load management and rest. It's out of control. Yeah,
I mean, look, load management for PG. I mean, look, he's coming back from injury. It's a knee injury, sure. Like, that's completely plausible. Still relatively early days. But I think it's saying earlier, fantasy basketball being the great leveler, unfortunately it's sunk its teeth into Darcy's roster at the minute, as it has everyone else. It really has. It's been a talking point for us. It's been a talking point for everyone in the chat, and probably all of our many billions of listeners as well in the leagues they're in. It's a real problem, and it really does feel like it has happened earlier this season than previous ones. What are we? We're heading into, we're in the thick of week 6 at the minute. Week 6, and you're finding yourself going, oh, dude, okay, so he's out as well. Well, I need a centre. Let's have a look. Oh my God. Okay, he's maybe going to average 7 points a game. Well, that's kind of all we've got left. I'm going to have to grab him. It's like the options are getting so thin because it's the factors of deep leagues and everyone being out and load management and number of injuries as well. It's really slim pickings, and it's getting so hard to either field a team or get some kind of contingency guy in off the wire to help you match up.
Components to that is like there's real world NBA impacts here and potential changes, and then there's fantasy basketball and more in particular, because this is a Squeaks format. What we're going to do with our format, we have annual general meetings. We run through the rules. We try and level the playing field, make it as competitive as possible each year. From my perspective, how do we manage the trend for load management? But what happens in this instance? We're trying to promote drafting. We're trying to promote investment in rookies. We're trying to promote retaining players onto your list and showing the benefit over time, being able to highlight and identify talent. With the amount of load management, you have to roll through players on the waiver to get some form of games played to get across the line. It's just it's impossible. One, with the crumminess of the performances on the waiver wire, and two, with trying to retain those players. How do we manage that? Do you lift waiver pickups for the week? Do you increase your waiver cap availability? Like there's so many impacts to this now, because it seems to be a trend. It's not like it used to be, where it's actually contracts are probably more focused on playing a significant amount of games and have that ability to sit down at times.
Ability to sit, but ability to be able to actually find someone. There would still be people available. We've made some roster adjustments and shrunk some of those. But I mean, we've got, at least in our league, we've got a number of people now. You couldn't even have 2-week matchups to maybe try and extrapolate a bit further, and law of averages and stuff like that, because you wouldn't be able to play everyone in the season. It's going to be really hard, and it's not going to magically get better anytime soon.
And,
I don't think.
From a real world basketball perspective, how does the NBA manage that? I mean, my first thought is, what are we doing on back-to-backs? What are we doing on back-to-backs with travel? What are we doing with the fixtures? Like, surely, with the length of the season and 82 games, they can figure out something where it's a bit more of a balanced roster. I don't know. I just feel like the tendency for players to sit so regularly to the point where you're getting 7 to 9 game time decisions, resting with an out or completely injured because they've tweaked something from overuse, then surely there has to be an adjustment somewhere. I think we've called it out in one of the earlier pods as well, but it's becoming painful to watch, and it's
I really got on my soapbox in one of the earlier pods, because it is like it's so bad, and probably more from the injury reporting side of things, I would say. But this is all part of that same thing. I feel like it's probably a valid discussion, but I don't know, my stance on it, I think it's probably a little bit of a cop-out. If there is some kind of conditioning issue, or the style of movement, the physical demand now on players, I don't know, it almost feels a bit like in Major League Baseball. Again, this is I should probably be asking this as a question so I don't look like a total dumbass and not know what I'm talking about. But it really feels like in the Major League Baseball season, obviously, like way longer, there's 180-something games. It feels like no one gives two hoots until the All-Star break, and then they start paying attention and ramping up. I don't know, I get a little bit of that vibe here. Maybe the NBA Cup is becoming this waypoint at which the load management stuff, guys looking after themselves, teams looking after their players with their capacity and their conditioning, reach this point and go, oh cool, like all the fanfare stuff's out of the way, now we get into the business end of the season. But that doesn't help the product at all. Doesn't help it at all.
No, it doesn't. And look, they want to find ways to keep the engagement. Look, they can always reach out to the Squeaks Commissioner panel, because we're always about engagement and finding ways to keep things ticking over for the whole year. So happy to consult if they're out there. But
happy to consult. But you know what? I mean, if anyone out there, and would be genuinely exciting once we actually find out that people watching this aren't in our league. For those of you out there that aren't, hop in the comments. What are you guys doing in your leagues to try and mitigate the effects of all these injuries, all the load management stuff, to keep it competitive, but to keep it interesting as well? Because, look, I mean, what the hell is CJ going to do? I mean, sure, you get excited at least with our local time, see who's playing who on the day. Who have I got playing? Oh, I've got no one. I was like, oh, cool, all right, I'm not interested in basketball today. What are you going to pay attention to? Like, that's going to hurt. Like, you want to make sure that fun is there, but that repeatable aspect of, I've got skin in the game. What's happening today? So hop in the comments. What are you guys doing in your leagues? Let us know.
100%. And as question 2, what would you recommend to the NBA? What would be the way to get people playing? What would be the way to make sure that players valued that season from end to end? What makes it more difficult?
I suppose what I would say in summary to what I was saying before, I don't think the NBA Cup, like the in-season tournament, I think I get why they tried to do it, but I think it's had the inverse effect. I think it's become this little phenomena where, sure, teams that aren't in the running for a championship, they may have something in the interim they might be capable of actually having a run at, which obviously helps a little bit more engagement with the fans. There's something exciting for them to get behind. They might win a little piece of silverware. Sure, it's not the whole thing, but it might be something for them. I feel like one of two things is happening, and it's causing a bigger divide where there's no middle ground of a team going, well, yep, we're in the end season as well, we're doing that. I don't think you've got people like teams that are going to just be pushing through in a typical season-long approach where everyone's playing all the time, they're sticking to their normal strategy. I think you'll have teams that just aren't in the running. They will forget about the longer-term season, tank there, but try and win some prize money and some salary cap stuff in the end season. Or, like I'm saying, some of the heavier hitters, they will keep all their eggs in their basket and wait until it's out of the way, because it may be considered a bit of a moot point, or like a bit of, well, so not so much a dead rubber, but a bit arbitrary in the sense that, well, why do we want to risk ourselves?
Exactly.
You know, like I think if you could somehow go do a case study on how Queenslanders and New South Welshmen function as human beings, that state of origin is still so hardly fought in an NRL season. Like the AFL haven't done it for ages because, we're going to get hurt. No, I can't do that anymore. You know, I think it's creating this divide. It hasn't had the outcome they've wanted.
Maybe controversial. I see the increase in games played and the increase in amount of ability to play for a cup and a regular season championship and all the rest of it. It's always more. It's always more of this, more of that, more of everything, more viewers, more travel, more. Yeah, they're trying. They're trying to make more things to win to make each game relevant, whereas what you've explained is a 3-game series, right? You go to NFL and it's a shortened sub-20-week season and it's one game a week, right? And they prep up for that one game. That game means a significant amount, because if they don't win that game, it's a whole nother 7 days until they play again, right? And you're actually not even getting to 20 games in the season. Each game means something really significant, because you could go from the top of your division to 3rd or 4th in your division in one solitary week. That's how close everything is, and it's similar in Squeaks.
So crucial.
So you got your 19-game season, and then suddenly you could be second on the ladder, and within 2 weeks you're 9th, 10th. Like it's amazing how you can go from being close to the top of the ladder to dropping all the way down. Each solitary week means a massive amount. And I only had this conversation with one of our commissioners as well. I won the first 2 games. I was 2-0. I was great. I was flying. I'm on a 4-game losing streak. All right. So I've just and this has been a result of the outs, the back-to-back fixtures, the people resting, and some unlucky injuries, a few other bits and pieces. Other teams are experiencing the same thing, but the wheels fall off quickly, and because of the week-long matchup, and it's you're not necessarily playing every day in terms of an outcome every day. The bigger picture is the week, and it means a lot. I'm feeling like the NBA 82-game season, adding more trophies, all the rest of it, just it's diluting it to an extent.
Yeah. More isn't more
Yep.
in this case, I don't think. And it's look, I suppose this has been for sure. But I mean, what that makes stakeholders and shareholders happy. But is that improving the product for everyone? Like us. With how many billions and possibly now trillions of viewers. But it has been a talking point that NBA viewership is on a steady decline. Market share's having an impact. I don't know. It's really easy for us to sit here and what a great opportunity we've got to talk about something we don't really know that much about. But it's easy for me to say all the stuff I do. It's just my viewpoint. It's how I feel about it in terms of what I get from it. Do I have the answer? No. Unfortunately, I don't, because if I did, I'd probably feel pretty chuffed about it and I'd want to let people know. But what I do know, at least this point, I really don't feel like what they have tried is working. It's not getting the outcome I think they really wanted.
Exactly. No, I agree with you there.
Yeah. Anyway, we could keep going around in circles, but I want to hear some of the segments you've got lined up. I'm actually quite excited to kind of get stuck into this. So
we're going to keep it simple today. We've been off for a couple of weeks. We're going to keep it simple today. We're bringing it back to Squeaks right now. And I thought we're going to introduce some of our key managers within the Squeaks Elite League, and just paint a bit of a picture of the kind of people that are in there. Just giving him a shout out in a way, and much respect for staying in the league for as long as they have done. Now.
10 years.
10 years.
Yeah.
There's a couple of waves of Squeaks. There's been the inaugural members. There's been a couple of we'll call them subs. Were a couple of very
the expansion teams.
we do have a suite of 4 teams that we call the expansion teams, and we also have a couple of one very recent addition as well. There's been a couple of dropouts over the years which we've been managed to fill after some significant character interviews and assessments. So
very stringent process. How am I still part of the framework? I wonder. Like, if I just slip through the cracks.
Someone needs to run the pod, mate. Come on.
Oh dear. All right. So who are we kicking off with? Marketing and communications. Yeah, smoke screens and smoke and mirrors. But I'm really excited to get stuck into this. So who we got up first?
First we got TJ, Terrell McKenzie. So
TJ.
So TJ is one of our, not inaugural, but has come in very early in the piece after a spot was freed up in the very, very early stages of the Squeaks journey. Now, he has had some success, but not massive success. All right, he's very much been there or thereabouts. And he's as one of our managers. I've run through a bit of a manager profile series of questions with these guys just to give you a bit of an insight. And it might, when we get down the track and we start sort of feeding the teams up onto the screen with graphics, you'll see some of the tendencies of some of these guys based on who they support and who they love and all the rest of it. Now,
we don't hide our allegiances in Squeaks. That is for sure.
Not. Well, there's one person before we get on to TJ. There's one person that has hidden his allegiance from the start, but since he uncovered that allegiance, it has been literally screaming from the mountaintops who that person is. So our very first draft, he kept very quiet, young Kane, and with his first pick, jumped in there and grabbed Blake Griffin, his all-time favourite player, and with that ripped off his shirt and showed his Blake Griffin jersey underneath, and from that moment forward, the Clippers fan of Kane was born, and I'm glad
iconic.
we added a Clipper segment into here, telling everyone how rubbish they are. So that'll be.
And look, I think every season from that point for the remainder of Blake Griffin's career, he found his way onto Kane's roster at some point.
That's right.
And probably like, I think I've touched on this very briefly too. Wouldn't surprise me if Kane sent Yahoo an email going, look, could you guys just like muck around with the coding? Could I just have him just as like a ghost player, like a regen in Football Manager or something. Can I just have him there? Just feels like he's part of the team.
While we're talking about some of this, do you mind bringing up the master spreadsheet in the background for us while I start going through some of the questions from TJ? Yeah, cool.
Yeah, sure, sure thing, not a problem. I'll do that. I'm absolutely doing that now and not doing it in post. Oh, there it is. Yep, cool. There you go.
Very good. So TJ is a Portland Trailblazers fan. Unbelievable. I don't know how he's done it. I don't know how he continues to do it, but he does follow the Portland Trailblazers, poor bloke, and his all-time favourite player is LaMarcus Aldridge. Now,
it's not Scoot Henderson?
Not Scoot Henderson. He said he was a close second, but he said he jumped above Dame in the Portland Trailblazers.
No, I can't keep that up. No, let's not do that. No, moving on.
So he's a Portland Trailblazers fan. He's a LaMarcus Aldridge diehard, and I said, look, Teach, what's your favourite NBA moment? And of course, he's going to come up with a Portland Trailblazers favourite NBA moment. So it's the Dame time 50-point game, 37-foot buzzer beater to eliminate the OKC Thunder in the playoffs. So look, I'd say you don't have to be a Portland Trailblazers fan to say that is a pretty high NBA moment right there. So yeah, good on you.
That is one of the NBA I remember where I was moments. I would say, oh my God, that was incredible. Like I was late for training because I was late for training because I stayed at home to watch it because it was going, oh my God, what the hell is going on here? Like, oh geez, they've got the ball. Dame's got the ball. He's not doing anything, and we're like, because Aiden was here who drafted for me. And we were like, dude, we got to go. It's like, no, we've got to watch the rest of this. Got to watch the rest of this. So we got to training and just looked it up on YouTube. And was like, no, here we're late because here's why.
It was wild. Just love it, and iconic photos from that as well. Unbelievable. So yeah. I completely love that one. Look, I asked them a few questions about Squeaks and what's the draw card for Squeaks and that. The first answer for that one was from TJ was draft night. He's very I guess complimentary of the draft that we set up, the way we do it, the interaction, the tension, as many people as possible in person, considering how global we all are, and I find that very what do you say? Very positive from the way we do things. Now, I also asked what you likes about Squeaks, and I think he's called out the competition, the constant banter, and the year-round interaction with the way we do things. So there's always something happen, right? Something happening, and each year brings something different. So part of our mantra is making it engaging. Part of our mantra is constant evolution of the rule set, the format, all that kind of stuff to keep it going. And someone like him who's come in not on the inaugural setup, but not long afterwards, has just said, mate, this is unbelievable, let's keep going, and he's been there ever since. So it was good to hear some of that feedback, and the fact that it keeps him engaged and he really looks forward to it is unbelievable. So we've got a Portland Trailblazer fan, loves Dame, loves LaMarcus Aldridge, and just is an advocate for how engaging and how much competition and change that comes with our format. So that was pretty good.
As a proponent for what you and I have waxed lyrical about in these first 5 episodes, such a great pick to kick off, I think, for our manager profiles, because he's just confirming what you and I are saying. Exactly. And I think everyone will, but it's gratifying. Oh, look, ripper start, I would say. Some awesome picks from Tidge there, but really fun to kind of have that from one of the guys in the league and go, look, it's not just us saying that. This is how everyone feels.
And he's, I'd like to just say there's always something fantasy basketball related that you're known for, and people can just pick what you're going to do each year. If there is something that TJ finds a way to do each year, is overpay at the draft for Aaron Gordon. There's, I would say, probably 80% of the drafts that he has entered into, he will find a way to excessively pay a significant amount of his cap for that draft day on Aaron Gordon, only to find himself struggling for crabs at the end because he's dropped almost $40 on him.
Because he had to have him. He had to have him. So he is Teja's
emotional fantasy player.
Blake Griffin.
Yeah.
Very emotional, hard on his sleeve. He's a gunslinger drafter, but he's his Blake Griffin. He really is.
That is so, yeah. An interesting fact about TJ, like getting personal here, but he's ambidextrous. Not that we absolutely give a shit about that for fantasy, but there you go. So for all your fanfare out
how
there.
Do you look? You never know. That might impact his drafting technique and his drafting strategy. He may be able to raise bids left and right-handed. Could be mucking around with his spreadsheet and his draft board. Actually, some people say he doesn't actually know what a draft board is. He's never used one. But if he had one and was prepping, he could be quite ambidextrous. 4 different screens. He could have He could have Megadesk. He could have the war room in front of him. Ambidextrous, very handy, and very handy on a footy field for a little brief period of time as well. He made a bit of a dent there.
That was a little transition there after his hurdling career. He could probably also, being ambidextrous, he could probably actually really make sure those lineups are set quickly, because if you're rolling out of bed and you hear a late out, like what side of the bed do you lay on? Are you rolling over on your left side? You're like, shit, I've got to change Aaron Gordon out of my roster. He's just got a concussion, because he's jumped too high and thought he was in a dunk contest again. I don't know.
Oh, another one. Yeah, trying to, jump over a cupcake or something? Or was that Dwight Howard? I can't remember. You know what? I think going back to injuries and laid-outs and the injury reporting, if you can work on your skill, this is coming from 2 very successful, I'm not successful, I haven't won shit in this league, but 2 very successful fantasy basketball podcast hosts here. Hot tip, okay? Sometimes you may have to make some late last-minute lineup calls. You might be, if you're on, Aussie local time, you might be heading to your lunch break, you might be heading to work, sipping on your coffee. Could be in your left hand, could be in your right hand. You don't want to waste time moving the coffee to the other hand to then pop someone on the IR for the 14th time that week, or get someone in off the bench. You got to have look. That's a skill. That is a proper skill that he has, and if he can utilise that, it's going to take him a very long way.
And just to wrap this up, I've just got his best performances and his length of tenure up here as well. He inaugurated himself at the 2016-2017 season, so very, very early on. He just missed that first year. And he has made it all the way to a 3rd place finish. So, well done.
Ooh.
Well done, TJ.
I'm not looking forward to them when that part comes up in my profile.
We'll leave you till last.
Please do. Yeah, just not really making any waves. But
we've got multiple playoff finishes there. I think it was only twice that he's finished outside the playoffs. So that's an extremely good run for someone jumping in not in the first. The very, very first season that we had this. So, well done, Teach. Good job. And
look, props for the way that he's been able to reinvent himself some seasons after some very animated rage trade moments as well. Has always found a way to just kind of get back on track. He's been a very consistent performer, I reckon.
Very thoughtful with his movements mid-season. So, and I think he has to be by drafting Aaron Gordon every year. So, yeah.
Well, look, you're just hamstringing yourself immediately. You just got to get good at spending from there. But look, I'm so glad we got that going. That's super fun.
Manager
Super
profile
fun.
number 1, Squeaks Elite. We got 15 to go, and we'll leave us two till last because I know you get to see our faces every week and sometimes every couple of weeks. So we'll leave us till the end.
All right.
Should we roll into week 6 matchups and results?
Let's round it out, mate. What do we got?
Right, so we're going to go with matchup number 1. We have Kane at 708 defeating the lovely shiny-haired David at 560. Solid win by Kane. 700 plus score in that kind of week with those games played is quite impressive. Funnily enough, of the top 3 performers in that game, David lost but had the top performer with Austin Reeves at 122 points. So well done, David, but obviously the rest of your team was shit, so that's we can't do anything about that.
Yeah, look, can't be helped, and wouldn't want to for David
right.
anyway. So
performer 2 and 3, we've got Pascal Siakam at 105 and Mikal Bridges at 101. So a solid outing there, which pretty much gives Kane a 2-game winning streak and gives David his second loss on the trot. So that's a bit of a turnaround after he was chirping week 1 and 2. So yeah.
Look, he was, but for good reason. Touching back on what you were saying before, I don't know. I think just the whole league very streaky at the minute. You're either on a roll or you're in a slump. It's really, really interesting how that dynamic's kind of shaping.
Definitely is shaping, and we're talking streaks. Adam, matchup 2, Adam at 713 has got across the line against his brother Eric and league commissioner at 574. Now, you'll see in the shorts that I dropped for week 5 that we had Eric go ballistic and finally get the monkey off his back against CJ, which has been a couple of years running, and he follows that up with an absolutely rubbish score and gets beaten by his brother. So
they had a hangover week. I think they probably would have celebrated a little bit.
Decent, reasonable win there by Adam. Same sort of margin as the previous game. Cade being the absolute star there at 144 on Adam's team. Adam actually had the top 3 performers. Cade, Edie at 119, and the stat collector himself, James Harden, at 92. So, what are your thoughts on that one?
Wow. Oh, yeah. Oh, look. It's, I think, probably the scoring side of things as well. There's a streaky element to that, probably for a lot of the reasons we've already touched on. But the guys that are on a roll, they are contributing so heavily. But there's just a growing divide between the wheat and the chaff. And the guys that stand out, you want to hope they're enough for you to kind of hang on. Yeah. Look, it's getting real interesting. I think it's kind of, the patterns are starting to emerge in terms of at least who you know is going to perform for you.
And it's fun for me, individual performances as well. Having Edie back for Memphis is just huge.
Oh yeah.
I noticed that there was a couple of game losing streak in there for Adam, and he had guys on the pine. He hadn't come back. Cade was just starting to find a bit of rhythm, and then Cade takes over, and he gets Edie back, and suddenly, wow, there's just 2 guys. There's 250, almost 260 points from 2 guys. That's amazing. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely nuts. Yeah, the guys that are contributing are swinging for the fences. They're finding their rhythm, particularly on a team like the Pistons. They're such a really interesting outfit. Cade's kicking so many goals.
I know you're going to want to talk about this next one. Matchup 3. The gentleman called Matthew Cowie gets the dub at 697 against cellar dweller Ben 446. That provides not so much a streak, but puts you back on the winning list, and also hammers home a 6-game losing streak for Ben. So
Look, that was real. I probably shouldn't have celebrated like that. That was tough for Ben. I mean, checking the matchup each day. I mean, look, Trey Johnson injured, Banchero injured, Brandon Miller out, Lillard injured, Scoot injured. He's really gone very. Looking at that, gone very heavy on Portland point guards. Are you sure that's not Teja's team with the number of Portland players? But no, look, Ben doing it tough. It's kind of lacking a little bit.
Not sure whether I'm not a big believer in the tank from day one scenario, but it's certainly looking like it at the moment.
He's tanked from day zero almost, I would say.
A few too many red wines
but
in
yeah,
the draft,
just that,
I think. Yeah.
Possibly, but things looking a little bit grim for Ben. Look, thankfully, a couple of things happened for me. I had Tyler Hero coming back. Paul George had a couple of games back, making his way out from injury as well. So thankfully
you're forgetting
wasn't really something.
Joshua Hart, 139 for the week. Julius Randle, 92, and obviously you said Hero back at 85. Josh Hart, mate, top scorer.
I'm still so conflicted with Hart. I loved him so dearly last year because he had a starting role. It's been really tough, probably for the start of the season for him, moving to the bench. It wasn't quite the same, and he absolutely dominated last week. But in my head, I'm going, it's because Shamet's out for a month and Anunoby still hurts. Like this isn't going to last. God, I hope it does. And I think, and this is no disrespect to Ben, but just the way that the situation that his team is in at the moment, I wish I would have had those 139 points against yourself when, with our matchup, or Darcy, for example. It's just a particular week that those games fell, and it's like, oh man, bit of a missed opportunity.
I hear you on that, and we can get into some of the missed opportunities for mine, because I think mine was the closest matchup for the week. But yeah, awesome job.
Yeah.
Back in the winner's circle, well done.
Back to 500.
Still in it. We've got Sticks. This is a big one. According to Yahoo, matchup of the week. Not the closest game, but probably the most exciting. Sticks at 721. Getting the win over league top scorer Darcy at 674. Putting Sticks on a 4-game winning streak and allowing Darcy to get his first loss of the season, even after Eric said to me not 2 weeks ago, I can see him going all the way without losing one.
And there's the kiss of death. There it is. Eric knew what he was doing. He brought that into the universe.
Up on his shelf, he's got a series of voodoo dolls, and he's got a team name on each one, and he just changes it every year when we change those team names, and the pins start going in at certain times of the season when he needs it to happen. Commissioner's powers.
He's got a shrine for Tom Brady and Larry Bird just in his room, just lighting candles every day, just doing little solitary vigils. I can see Eric doing that.
I could too. But yeah, look. I'm just going to throw something out there. Top performer for the week for Sticks, Keegan Murray, 127.5.
Keegan Murray, yeah.
So he's put up a 127 week, right? And he's only got across the line by 50 points. Like, are you kidding me that Keegan Murray's going to score 127 every week? Like, yeah.
If you're going to tell me you're going to get a win over Darcy and the guy getting you over the line is Keegan Murray, unreal.
I don't even.
Yeah, exactly. Like, no, come on.
To be honest,
No, and LaMelo obviously had the week that he had. The likes of them just not really contributing from any kind of standpoint. Absolutely bizarre. The Kings again, they're probably just like one standard deviation away from being a mess like the Clippers and the Pelicans. But, massive output from the likes of that kind of player.
Second position there, Jalen Johnson again. 115. That guy's been on a tear lately, and Cat holding Sixers team together at 112. So, yeah, some solid scores, and there we go. First defeat of the year for Darcy, and obviously we're recording this pod on the 4th. Couple of days into the week 7 matchups, and as the group chat has officially called out, and you've mentioned early in this pod, I'm pretty sure someone's taken a hard left and the tyre is well down the road in the other direction. The wheels are falling off.
So Keegan Murray was the catalyst, basically, right at the end of that matchup being decided. The check engine light came on Darcy's dash, and started seeing a little bit of steam under the bonnet, and now he's seen one of his tyres kind of bouncing down the highway heading towards someone else's car. It's escalated very quickly.
NASCAR, right, where the tyres just rolling down lane, everyone's diving out of the way.
Robin's racing.
That's right. Oh, awesome. Okay, we'll move on to matchup 5. Another team rolling here, Morgan at 674. Getting a very close win against Jake at 645. Look, when you got Joker on your team, it doesn't matter how many games he's playing, he still put up 134 for Morgan's team.
Crazy.
Jake with Edwards at 131, and now look, we're talking 29 points here. This is another one that gets my gears going. Morgan has got a 3-game winning streak going at the moment. And he's sunk Jake on a close one. The third performer with 92 points for the week is Sadiq Bey.
Yeah.
Yeah. Come on.
I mean, look, shout out to Trey Mann actually taking half a point away from their total. Not really contributing much on the fantasy stat sheet. But look, grinding gears, I don't know, like Morgs is in a spot at the minute where Jokic is going to contribute, but then you're kind of thinking, wow, who's going to be the second guy? Is there going to be a second guy? Because he's obviously so heavily leveraged getting Jokic on his roster. There's going to be a divide there, but then you have Sadiq Bey with 92.5 points in a week. It's
definitely not a sad dick.
Yeah, it's
Bey, but it's
very. Look, it's the universe is smiling upon Morgan's team at the moment.
Run.
I think very begrudgingly. He's getting his Darcy run. Yeah, he's put some new tyres on.
Yep. Oh, very good. All right, matchup 6. We've got TJ. Unfortunately, copping the loss, 456.5 to Cole, 592.5. Loss and a win for both. No streaks there, but we've got Scotty Barnes pulling up a 130 for TJ. The rest of his team couldn't follow suit. I think he had significant outs, and he has called that out quite vocally. For Cole, Jaylen Brown at 114, and Denny continues his hot form with 113 as well. So, yeah, maybe that's the reason that TJ didn't put down his favourite player was Denny Avdia from the Portland Trailblazers, because he got smacked by Cole in week 6. So,
we did. Oh, we did. Deary mate. Yeah, look, Denny's an interesting cat. But I mean, contributing so consistently this season, which I think everyone probably thought he was going to. Really good value for money. You're performing really well.
His fantasy skill set leads to rolling up those rebounds and assists in high numbers as well. So, not high volume shooter. As long as he gets that efficiency right, hits a double-double, you're getting some significant scores out of that guy. So, yeah.
Efficient, but contributes really broadly across the stat sheet.
Matchup 7, we've got Julian, 3-game losing streak at 461. CJ back on the winners list at 609. I've only put one player that mattered in this matchup, and that was Doncic at 141. The rest of the teams, I am not putting those kind of scores up on this pod. Julian, I'm sorry, mate, no one really contributed, and CJ, stars and scrubs, like you've had Doncic hold you up. You had some mid-tier performances by the rest of you guys, but I think you're lucky you got Julian that week.
Look, you know what? For the kind of players that CJ's got, that total score, because I want to just hang shit on Morgan, that's what I would expect from Morgan's team. not from CJ's, right? You would expect Jokic all the way up here and then nothing. Yeah, not the best showing from CJ's roster as a whole. Julian obviously doing it pretty tough, but some promising signs with Derek Queen finally getting some kind of minutes for the Pelicans. So there is some positivity there, but it's the
just trying to get his 10 points.
Yeah.
He does have a few guys coming through, but there is some significant injuries as well.
Well, look, let's just rattle off a few. Porzingis injured, Kyrie Irving injured, Devin Booker injured, Christian Brown injured, and then he's got Tatum stashed on his IR and Kelly Oubre as well. That's just.
Say Christian Braun. Should we touch on that PJ Washington Christian Braun trade? This is actually these two players in this number 7 matchup for round 6. Julian, just before season start, we've got a small trade window that's allowed before game 1. From the draft, in case anyone is just completely shitting themselves over the selections that they've made and want to make hay while the sun's shining.
Anyone trigger happy? Yeah,
this was a trigger happy trade. Look, on the surface, I didn't see much in it. Like, I thought it was a bit of a like for like, but we've had Julian draft PJ Washington, and then on trading for Christian Braun, who was I believe was a keeper from CJ, was he not? Like one of his low value keepers.
I think so. Yeah.
So CJ brought him through as a low value keeper, and they did that.
You watch. I've just said yes, definitely, and CJ messaged me going, no, he actually wasn't. Something else I've gotten wrong. But anyway.
So it's all about engagement. We say a few wrong things in here. We get keeps the ball rolling. Anyway.
See, the sad part is I'm not deliberately saying these to get a rise out of people. It's just I don't know what on earth I'm talking about.
Oh, look, never let the truth get in the way of a good story.
That's right.
Yeah, so we got that. So we look as trade commission. It was all approved. Bang, straight through. It was a bit of a like for like trade. Positional differences. Small forward, power forward. Julian thought he got the rub of the green on that one. He's like, oh yes, I've taken Braun. Braun basically didn't touch the ball for the first couple of weeks, and suddenly AD goes down and PJ Washington's dropping a double every game. So we're like, there's the kissed factor for CJ coming into play there. But it turns out to be one-sided, and then we got a 6-week injury from Braun. So wasn't that a bit of a luck out from Julian?
Fantasy basketball, the great leveler. Yeah, it's a very interesting one. I really kind of wonder sometimes what CJ sees and what makes him make these calls, because he's definitely not averse to making a move. Just there's just some vibe that he gets, or whatever it is he's looking for to get that kind of information. I mean, look, certainly no knock on. Look, he had. Look, I mean, definitely, probably. I mean, there's a couple other nicknames for him in the chat, but this is the family program. But I mean, look, that's no knock on PJ Washington. I think the circumstances of the teams. This is the stuff you try to factor in and get some kind of idea of what outputs the dude going to have. I don't think anyone, definitely not at the start of the season. I don't think anyone saw Dallas going quite to the basket case they were going to be. That's going to have an impact. But Brown, with the moments he's had when they started giving him some minutes, was awesome. Really, really good production, and that injury's going to be a big problem.
That's right. And wrapping up week 6 outcomes or results is matchup 8. Ryan, myself, Prime, 565. Just getting done in the end by 13 points. 578 to Brett. Brett getting his first win for a significant amount of time, and putting me onto a 3-game losing streak. Thank you very much. Exact example of the difference between injuries making or breaking your team for a week. I could almost split the week in half. First 2, 3, 3.5 days, I was having outs left, right and centre. Couldn't field a side, getting a massive 100-point gap blown on me in the first couple of days, and then suddenly getting players back and just coming home like a steam train. And Brett acknowledged that. Hit the waivers on the last day, pulled in Luke Cornett, of all people. Decent pick up, but obviously with
KP light.
And he's nailed 16 fantasy points on the last day, and Brett's won by 13. So,
snagged it.
Just snagged it, and I had to hit the waiver myself, but only because I knew there was a tendency for my guys had been sitting on back-to-backs. And, of course, I got that again, just to duplicate the fact of what fantasy can mean. I had Jakob Purcell sit on the back-to-back. And guess who my opponent had? Mamu Kelishvili. So, of course, his minutes go up, his usage goes up. I lose one of my best centres, and the multiplier happens. Combine that with the waiver pickup, and Brett gets his win by a mere 13 points. So.
I love that dynamic though. You know, like and you try to capitalise on whatever happens in the league, but then when it's caught within the confines of a matchup, when your guy goes down and the other guy profits, that stings so bad, so bad. And like you're looking at some of Brett's scores, like there's a pretty, you know, in terms of production, an even spread across his roster. I mean, you yourself, you had Evan Mobley. He got 102.5 points for the week, but then a steep drop off. Prime, not pretty.
More than 2 games, that's why.
But that's the thing, exactly right. But it's just, it gets really fascinating when stuff like that happens, and you go, okay, well, is there a way to kind of capitalise on this? Who is going to benefit from this situation? Whether it be a poor showing, a benching, an injury, a starting position, you know, like you're trying to find those little spots when you can.
And also, like, he'll be mighty pleased as well with Cooper Flagg showing at 75 points for the season. Like RD.
Oh
RD
yeah.
75. That's pretty solid. I think he was getting a little bit nervous when he's seeing Conker Nipple, Ryan Kalkbrenner, a few others starting to light it up, and then he dropped the number 1 pick and was worried that his guy wasn't going to be doing much this season. But no, there's some early season efficiency stuff that's happening. But he's getting his run, he's getting his usage. He'll be good. It'll take some time, but he'll be good.
Exactly. No, hitting that sweet spot where the patterns are starting to form, guys are starting to come back, and teams are forming their identities in the way that they want to play and who they're going to play and what it's all going to look like.
And just as I just look at some of my notes here as well from from this week, and I mentioned the 141 from Doncic, 29 fantasy points in the first quarter. All right, so look,
come on now.
It's going to be interesting to see whether CJ can hold in this following matchup if he's still got Wemby on the pine and Father Doncic is travelling the world to see his bubs.
Well,
that's 140 points you don't get.
That's going to hurt. That is going to hurt. But I suppose we're going to see, aren't we?
That's right. Well, that wraps up week 6. That wraps up week 6 in Squeaks, and we've got some big streaks. +4, +3, +3. We've got some big streaks the other way as well. -3 for myself. -6 for Ben. Oh, I'm starting. Look, I'll be honest. There's a few things I said early in the season. Said I was rolling. Yep, not quite true.
We've pumped the brakes a bit.
Week 4, we'll see some levelers and some, I guess, corrections in the statistics. That is true. So yes, we're seeing some of the top guys also cop injuries, and also seeing some balanced scoring coming through. But on the flip side, we're seeing some real oddballs. Sadiq Bey, come on! I'm going to keep saying it.
Yeah, I know. And look, this is going to probably come off pretty offhanded, looking at the matchups for week 7 at the moment, because we're in the middle of them. And we kind of talk about it a little bit in the chat. It's not the best thing to go by, but at least there's some kind of indicator for now. Looking at some of the projected scores, if things go the way they go, hopefully it looks like a bunch of these matchups we'll be talking about next week, that looks like they're going to be really close.
Yeah, you could skip.
Really close. There's a couple that. Look, there's a couple. Yeah, I mean, Primes is one of them. There's a couple that are some outliers, but for the most part, I know. Looking at mine. My matchup is at Jake. I think I'm up against double Demin. That's kind of hanging on a little bit. Like I had Powell didn't play today. I think Paul George didn't play today either, so that certainly stung. Hanging on a little bit, but it's going to be close. I think this week it's going to be a little bit more of a tighter affair for a bunch of these guys. So hopefully there's fewer blowouts.
I hope so too, and I think the more players we get on the court, I think the evenness is going to balance itself out. Look, quick shout out as well to that team name that you just mentioned, an ode to double denim. Brooklyn PG, Igor Demon, so the double Demons, yeah. So
Demons.
I'm an advocate for that team name. Well done, Jacob.
Yeah, it's going to be good. I think we'll have to do we try and have some kind of awards night podcast where we announce the winners, like some of these end of the season, best team name and
I think we
stuff
can bring
like
that in. We can consult the commissioner on the final results of that and get that list to us for the pod that aligns up with the end of season, and I believe we can shout them out here. Very much so. We have most improved. We have best.
I'll
fantasy.
Get my little tuxedo T-shirt out.
Definitely.
Yeah.
We have best team name. We have a whole bunch of those things. Best waiver pickup. Yeah, all sorts of stuff like that. So, yeah,
Awesome.
I'll consult and come back to that later in the season, but definitely we'll trickle those through as we go. But we will shout them out as the outcomes get delivered. I think
excited.
Based on that, I think we can wrap up from here. What do you reckon, Matt?
Sounds good, man. I think we touched on quite a bit.
Welcome back.
Good to be back. Yeah, welcome back, good sir. Just getting back in the saddle. We got past the episode 4. We made that milestone. We've kept going. It's smooth sailing from here, mate. Episode 5.
Now.
But now that's it. A handful. But no, good to be back, dude. Good to talk to you.
And to you.
Best wishes to the Derbies and all of the family unit over there and everyone part of that network
who has had
absolutely
their life touched by Lee. That's definitely can be said. So cool. And on that note,
absolutely,
man. Questions in that pod. Please don't hesitate to reach out at Squeaks Gallery at YouTube in the comments section or just DM directly on Squeaks_fantasy at Instagram. Love to hear from you. We've heard from a few, and we'd love to hear from a few more.
Absolutely. Big thanks to Dixon again for still not knowing who we are. Look forward to changing my tone there one day. But Prime, always a pleasure, dude. Until next time.
See you, mate. Thank you.